Hello everybody, this is Dan Boul at 65 amps. Today is October 19th, 2011. And today we are playing our new amp, the Producer, again. And due to many requests, I am going to be playing it with effects and using our effects loop. So I brought in some random assortment of guitars. I have my Peter Stroud model Elliott here. I even have my little Rickenbacker John Lennon 325 I can bring out later if you want. And just going to kind of run through, show you how the loop works, some different pedals. I don't have a distortion box hooked up because this amp has plenty of distortion. I don't think you need a distortion box. And then so what I have three Strymon pedals. I have the Strymon OB1 compressor, which I'm going to focus on that more for the clean sound because the amp has a lot of gain. You don't really need it on the dirty side. And I have the Blue Sky Reverb and the Capistan Echo thing. And so first off, big thanks to Ethan and Terry out at Strymon. They sent these pedals over for us to use on the show. And they're I called them and sort of shamelessly begged for them because I love them. I borrowed them, but you can't buy them. Every time I go to buy them in a store, there's none in stock, and dealers can't keep them in. I go over to True Tone here in LA, and they never have these. They're like, yeah, we got them in yesterday and sold 12 of them. So right now, I'm on the Producer channel 2 with the bump on. And it's just dry at the moment. I've got the volume on just a hair over 5. So this guitar, not happy. I'm tuning with a compressor right now. So first off, let's get caught up. Things are going really well here at 65. The Producer, we already have a pretty big queue for them going on already. And so for those of you that might be new to the show, there is a chat window that sometimes is hard to log into, but if you can log on and you want to ask me some questions, that would be great. And I can try to pull off anything. The only thing I don't have to do here today is a telly, and I really meant to bring one, and I blew it. I blew it. I apologize. I just realized that right now. So I'll do that next week. We'll do the Producer again next week, and I'll focus on telly and clean sound and stuff. So the Producer is the newest amp that we're offering. It's for sale right now. We're doing pre-orders, and we're going to be delivering them in about 6 weeks. And what it is a pair of EL34s that we're running fairly unconventionally. Without going into a long technical explanation, we're running these tubes in a very safe fashion so that they'll last you 20, 25 years. And they don't have all the drawbacks of EL34 amps, which, as many of you already know, an EL34 amp is usually too loud for most guys. And this amp's doing 28 watts clean. Maybe sometimes only 26, depending on what voltage is coming out of the wall. It does more than that when you dime it, of course, but clean, it's 26 to 28 watts. We're running the tubes in a very unique fashion it's unconventional but for guitar amps, but it's very common in other paradigms. And we went out and had some special transformers made from Mercury Magnetics to do this for us, because there's no off-the-shelf guitar transformers that'll do this. So the tubes are drinking beautiful, rich current right now at lower voltage. So I know there's a lot of amp guys that are saying, oh, they just lowered the voltage on the amp. Well, we did a lot more than that. That's only one of about the 5 factors you need to adjust when you're going to do this to get good sound out of the amp. So right now, the amp's on 5. This has our master voltage also. And it has an effects loop in it. It's a passive loop that you're going to hear today. I'm going to play clean for a second, then we're going to start cutting in some effects and play with some clean sound single coil guitars. And I got a couple of oddball guitars here today. So anyway, before we get started, any questions right off the bat that you guys want to go over really quick? And once again, big thanks to our friends over at Strymon for providing us with pedals. If you guys haven't tried Strymon pedals, check them out. I think they're the future. Nothing? No questions? Everybody there? Check 1, 2. We have a lot of people logged on. Okay, well, let's go right into, I know, what's that G string? Just keep going. Okay, let's go right into some reverb for all you guys in Texas. I know everybody there loves reverb. I'm kidding. A lot of people love reverb. The G string will not stay up. And so the setting I have on the Blue Sky right now, it's a spring reverb in normal mode. And I have the highs damped off of it a little bit. I can open up the highs. Hear a little more sparkle there. Are you guys there? I'm not seeing activity, which always worries me. It makes me think Ustream went poopy. Let me type in and see if you can see me. Hello? Oh, there's a whole bunch of chatting that wasn't showing up, and a whole bunch of guests. Crud. Ustream's driving me nuts. You guys are asking me questions. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Mine just hung out. Boo. Okay, you're there. You know, if you guys have been typing in questions, I apologize. It wasn't showing up on my screen. For a second, I saw all these questions that I didn't know were there, and then it went away when I refreshed. I'm sorry. I don't have the compressor on right now. And I don't use it on the dirt. I just don't need it. On the clean sound, though, you'll hear it huge. Yeah, I have this whole little flyboard that you see here. See if I can tilt this up. I have this whole little flyboard here just going through the loop. And there's nothing else going on. How's that reverb sound out there? Let me give you a little plate reverb. I can make it real heavy if you want. I'm going to take a little bit of the highs out of the reverb. Is that Mac Baker? Hey, Mac. How you doing, man? That's a plate reverb. Let me give you some room sound. I'll make it even heavier on that. Pretty big room sound, isn't it? I like the spring too. Back that down a hair. Hear it even twinkle a little bit. Stratocaster Mojo, that's a very important question you're asking. I appreciate that. Stratocaster Mojo asks, Dan, talk about the difference on the loop versus going through the front, effects-wise. Well, a lot of it's just opinion. The theory, is that if you run the effects on a loop, what you're doing is putting them in at the phase inverter, so they don't go through all the gain stages on the amp. So your echo will stay clean, your reverb won't get distorted, you know, gained up. There's a big discussion on whether it's better or worse. I'm not going to say it's better or worse because it's just personal preference. I kind of like running my effects through the front because I like them getting a little gacked up. I think it sounds more fun. But I'm running them through the loop right now, so you'll hear things like, here, that reverb's very clean. If that were going straight in, hey, Vincent in Paris, how are you, Vincent? If that were going through the front, you'd hear a little more distortion on the reverb. So, will this technology work for EL84s? Yes, it will. And we're going to try to do that in the future, but it's going to be a while. It's hard for us. Unless somebody wants to lend me $500,000, I got to make my day-to-day living making and selling amps. So. Thank you, Fonzarelli. You like the shirt. Thanks for the kind word, guys. That's good. That's a lot of reverb. Let me back that down a little bit. Let the lows come through. Take off the low dampening. Oops. Big room sound on the Strymon delay. I'm going to turn that off for a second, and let's go over to the El Capistan tape echo. Now, it won't take me years to redesign for EL84s. I just got to have some spare time. I am on channel 2 with the bump on, so this is the gained up. Let me go back over to channel 1. We'll go back and look. Turn that up just a little bit. Let me turn the echo off, a little bit of verb. How's that sound? Now the loop returns at the phase inverter. You can't run it straight into the power section, it won't work. So Findasola says, pity Max Guitar asked $1,000 more than the US price. Well, it's not quite that much, but that's the cost of shipping gear over to Europe and the taxes that you have to pay on it. he actually makes the same margin as the U.S. dealers. He's not making any more money than anyone else. It's just there's taxes, but it's heavy gear to ship all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. So there's a lot of overhead on that. The U.S. list price on this amp is $36.95. This amp is about 40 pounds. That is in weight, not in British currency. Yeah, Duesenbergs cost a lot less in Europe than they cost here. Get a little bit of longer echo. Too much reverb, isn't it? I'm putting on a little compression. Get the output up on it. Yeah, you want modulation? Absolutely. Yeah, Neil, you're right. The compressor sounds a little better in the front. I'm just running the whole board. Is that enough modulation, Bill? Down. And this thing also has a booster on it, which can give me a little more boost here. EC Song 187 says, will this be available in a combo? Right now, we're not doing that. Because the combo is going to be extremely expensive and extremely heavy, and it's a lot of amp to cram into a little box. It sounds great with a 112 cabinet. I think I'll switch over to a Strat here. I'm getting tired of this Les Paul. Amp actually sounds great with 10s. We did an experiment here one day with it. It sounded really good. Mac Baker is asking, do the trannies make up most of the weight on the producer? It's some. It's not all the weight. The power transformer is unusually large. I think if for those, oh, thanks, man. Nick Price, everybody. If you're in LA and need a good engineer, call Nick Price. Yeah, I'll bring out the little Rickenbacker. We can do that. Right now the bump is on channel 1. Yeah, Bill, I'll pull out the Peter Stroud guitar here in a second. So I have the compressor on right now, as you can hear, with the reverb and the echo. So I got three effects. Turn the bump off on channel 1. Mac Baker, good question. We don't take any shortcuts on any of our amps, especially not this one. It's full out, baby. That's with the compressor on. Let me turn it off. Let me give you no effects on here just so we have a reference point. Totally clean. No, Brett, I know where you're going with the bump question. It hasn't changed. We just took the bump level off because on the smaller amps that only have 2 choices, you need more flexibility like this. But this amp has 4 voices, so so it's not really necessary. It also makes the amp a lot more complicated. But yeah, this is a 4-voice amp, so the bump level is... There's only so much stuff you can cram into a hand-wired amp, so getting this thing to have 2 channels with 4 voices is a lot of work. So a little bit of echo on that. Oops. It's one effects loops for both channels, yeah. I mean, again, you're getting into hand-wired stuff. It's not printed circuit board stuff. You just can't fit it all in there without it being a noisy and unreliable amp. A little bit of reverb back in there. Compression back in. Compression's not coming through well on the microphones. I think it's because it's getting so compressed going into Ustream already. Good question, Mac. What other 65 amp would you even compare to the Producer since it has EL34s? Well, the only one you're going to notice a little bit of overlap is the Empire's Channel 2. Sounds pretty similar to Channel 3 on this one. Fonzarelli, do you ever think about making an amp with a built-in reverb? You know, I don't, because these pedals sound better than anything I can build into the amp. I'd love to stick this circuit into an amp, but I can't make anything that sounds this good with a tube and a spring. It just doesn't exist. And plus it would raise the price on the amp about $400. And then if I build you a spring reverb, then you're married to just a spring reverb. What if you want a hall reverb or a plate reverb, or you want to dampen the highs, you want to dampen the lows, et cetera, et cetera? You're just kind of out of luck. Theodore Boro Boog asks, sorry, is the Soho the most Voxy amp we make? Yeah. It's the truth, Fonzarelli. I mean, I know how to make reverbs. I have a 64 Fender tank reverb. Sounds great, but it only does one thing. And, you know, I got to put a transformer in it and, you know, tubes and more circuitry, and it's going to make the amp noisier, and it's going to dilute the signal on your guitar, and it will never sound as good as this. Never. Have you ever heard other pedals that do a better job than the three Strymon pedals? No. Honestly, these are the first pedals I've been impressed with in 30 years. They sound amazing. For those of you guys who know me too, I'm not a pedal guy. Like, my pedals are all old. I have the newest pedal I own is a Rat from the 80s. I have tone benders and fuzz faces and range masters, and my Echo is an EP3. No, it's a digital delay, but it's imitating the El Capistan. If you're, the Echoplex. If you're not familiar with Strymon, look them up. Go to their website. Let me put the website up here right now. Oh, it won't let me put it up. It's ST here. Here is the word. Oops, I'm running over my cord now. Thank goodness it's a good cord. Ah. Get off the cord. Get off the babysitter. Strymon. Check it out. Go to their website. What I'm using is the El Capistan and the Blue Sky Reverb and the OB1. Yeah, Brett did it. No, it's not a Bucket Brigade. It's a Shark processor. They do make a Bucket Brigade kind of delay. I just don't have it. Yeah, here's the boost Mac on the OB1. That's on the high. You can boost the lows or mids, and it makes it sound sort of martially. And here's back to the highs, back to the lows. Anyway, the guys at Strymon are great. You can order them online from their store. Every dealer here in LA can't keep them in stock for more than a day. And every pro I know is using these things in LA right now. Here's my favorite thing to do with this, though. Check this out. As you know, I'm an Echoplex guy. So hang a second. Let me get it. Get that mix a little hotter. A little less verb. This is Tape Echo Heaven. So if you guys know, oh, I'm just a redneck from Missouri. That's how I can play that stuff. If you guys know echo plexes, you know how once you start loading up that tape, how it starts to get that chime. I got my cable under my chair. Hang on a second. You know what it's like when you start loading up that tape and it starts doing that? You get that chimey layer on the top. That sounds like a tape echo, man. So all the young guys that work here, they always bring in a new delay all the time. They go, I got one. It's going to be better than your Echoplex. And we hook them up side by side, and they always go, oh, yeah, you're right. I plug this in next to my Echoplex, and I like it as much or better. I need a hat and a bolo tie, Jim Flannery says. Thanks, man. Yeah, but you can do all the good. That's a hard one. I haven't tried to play that in a while. Yeah, you can age the tape, is what it's called. Roll off the highs. So I'll age the tape here. Hear how the echo gets a little lo-fi? I can put wow and flutter on it and make it sound like old motors and... But yeah, I like a little bit of each, not too much. Yeah, Hot Rod Lincoln. I haven't played that since I was a kid. That's hard. I said, son, you're going to drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that Hot Rod Lincoln. Yeah. Man, that's a good song. I like redneck music. That's fun. I love it. But, where's the beer? Yeah, come on over, Bill. That music does. I'd probably play it a lot better. The amp takes fuzz pedals really well. I mean, it gets a lot of distortion on its own, but it's really pedal friendly. Up this compression a hair. Take it off just for comparison. A little too much wow and flutter on the echo, isn't it? Put the compressor back on. So the thing that's great about this compressor, no pick, right? And I can sit here and go. Barely touching the guitar. How many pre-orders so far, Derek V asked? We're somewhere in the 30s. Somewhere around there. Hear how good that compressor does at bringing up the soft stuff? Now I'm just hitting it as hard as I can. Now I go back to my fingers. Hey, Steve. Go back over to... These pickups are Jason Lawler's Dirty Blondes. They're a little mid-rangey. They're not very high output, though. I have another Strat with some standard kind of... Derek V says, how old were you when you started playing guitar? Well, I started playing piano when I was 4. Then I picked up saxophone in elementary school. And I got a guitar when I was 12. Yeah, I'll bring the Stroud guitar out. Is that close to right? Tape echo just sounds perfect. Dan, tell me about your career as a player. I played my first gig in 1969 on piano. My grandfather was a Dixieland musician and spent a lot of time with me as a kid. Went all the way through doing all that stuff and was in a band in the 80s and had a record deal. Fell through, like most record deals. Decided to go back to college. Thought I was going to be a lawyer. Moved out here. I was only 4 years old in 1969, that's right. And then I just couldn't stay away after a while, and my brother Peter, playing with Cheryl, always had me help him with his rigs. So we started making amps. He and I have been completely ripping apart amps. Since the 80s. I mean, we both worked at Rhythm City in Atlanta and tore amps apart all the time and learned how to do stuff. Speaking of Peter Stroud, if you guys haven't seen one of these, you should. This is... How do we get started building amps? I just started taking amps apart. I got my first Marshall when I was 13. I took it apart just to figure out how it works. Yes, Peter is that laid back. Peter's a supreme individual. So you want a P90s. These are P90s on Jazzmaster bobbins. This is the guitar Peter designed with Andy Elliott. And they're very noisy. Let's go down channel 3. Well, this one's actually mine, Mac. Peter has a white one. Whenever you see him on TV using this one, it's mine. Because it's easier for him just to use mine than to travel. Just so you guys haven't seen it, it's an Elliott guitar. Handmade by Andy Elliott in North Carolina. And if you guys know him, check him out. But yeah. Go over to the clean. Put a little compression on. Probably too much. No, it's just like a gold top. These lights and webcams don't do it justice, but it's a very throaty guitar. That's right, and it's kind of specific sound, but it's very nice. You can see a lot of nice detail with this dark stripe in here, and you know, look at the headstock. It's beautifully made guitar, and take that compression down a little bit. What do they go for? I think the list price on this is about $3,500 or something. If you go to elliottguitars.com. Yeah, it's a big C-shaped neck. Peter has fingers like Arsenio Hall, so he likes big necks. So go to voice 2, which is the bump on channel 1. We'll take the compressor off so it gets a little more. We'll go over to third voice. Just giving you some vocabulary, and we go up to the full range. A lot of reverb, isn't it? Third voice. Thanks, Vincent, for coming. Greetings to everyone in Paris. Nice to see you. It's not a gain bump. It's kind of hard to explain, but really what we're doing is taking away circuitry, so you unlimited guitar signal into it. Get this compression on. With all three effects on. These P90s are making P90 noise, sorry. Yes, big buddy, everything's all hand wired here. Handmade, hand wound transformers on the blue line. Brett, who should you order tubes from? Yeah, New Sensor or CE Distribution. I think we talk. You can drop a note to me and Mike or Wayne. Just Wayne at 65 amps. And we'll get you some tubes. Fonzarelli says that amp's got Dan's blood, sweat, and tears in it. You are correct. All three of those, actually. Here's the back of the guitar, Mac. Let me turn it, as I got a lot of lights on in here. See a reflection of me sitting there. There's my rig and spotlights. And yeah. I have a little Rickenbacker 325. It's in a silver road case that's sitting next to the sofa out there. It's a 3/4 scale guitar like the John Lennon thing. Would you mind grabbing that? Thanks, Nick. We'll get some Rickenbacker. But you can hear Peter all over this, man. But all the... Yeah, I have a Rick 660 12 string here too, but I don't want to do that today. It's getting too late. We can do it next week. This little 325, if you guys are Beatles fans, you'll love this. Let's see, let's go for a little room reverb. Sounds like you're, man, it does good. Need to lengthen this delay. and flutter on it. Would I be upset if you got an Elliott exactly like mine? No, I'd be honored. Please buy one. They're great guitars. Yeah, the pickups are Lindy Fralin makes them for Andy. They are P90s wound on a Jazzmaster bobbin. So you get a lot of that cool surf little sound out of it, as well as good P90 Raj. Okay, it's Beatle time, I guess. For those of you that haven't seen one of these, it sounds like a telephone. Would I trade an amp for heads of cattle? Yeah. Sure. How many you got? Wow, that phone's loud. Listen to that. Wireless caller. Okay. Just go away. Okay, Beatle time. So this is a Rickenbacker 325, 3/4 scale guitar like John Lennon used to play. And it does the thing. It's not a lunchbox, Fonzarelli, it's a dinner box. That's a real amp. You know, all these lunchbox amps, I just made it as a joke because I see all these. I see all these lunchbox amps, and really just little fuzz boxes, so we're making a real one. Just for the red line, though, it'll be coming out in January. I'll probably show it off here in about a month. Whoa, it's so hard to play a 3/4 scale guitar suddenly. Anyway, it does the Beatle thing very well. Stay in tune. So the guitar has 12s on it. Let's see. Let's heat this amp up a little bit. Don't worry, Nick, it's not your fault. Hang on a second. They just don't stay in tune. All right. You reverb and you want. Is that what you want, Neil? Go over to a little dirtier side. I got the volume down on the dirty side. Let's go. When I'm home, that's it. See how the compressor does with this. It's a little much, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't need it. Try the booster. Which amp does the early Beatles thing the best? If I had to choose, I would say probably the London or London Pro and the Soho. So anyway, yeah, it's a fun little guitar. I even have the Python strap like John wore on the Sullivan Show. Turn that compressor off, it's a little much. E string's already gone. That's the sound, isn't it? Yeah, you just can't imitate these guitars, and they're kind of bitchy little guitars that don't stay in tune, but it's fun. It's kind of like playing a ukulele. Big Bad Bill is Sweet William now. Yeah, it does all the Beatles sound. Got a good reason taking the easy way out. Got a good reason. That's all right, Brett. You can call. Let me give you the number at the shop. Let me do that. Number at the shop is 818. You ready? 766-4265. That's 818-766-4265. You called my desk. The master voltage is on about 8. And the volume on the number 1 channel is on about 6 right now. And I have the bump on, so here's the bump off. Sound, man, that's it. Is that in B or is that in C? Let me get the dirt. Is that right? Say you want. Say you want a revolution. Well, no. I got the melody wrong, don't I? It's say you want a revolution. Oh, I'll get it later. Well, maybe I'm in the wrong key. guitar is cool, and the amp will do kind of anything you ask it. But yes, that works. Yeah, we have a dealer in Nashville, Simon and Ripley's, and then we have some amps over at the Platinum Room in Nashville. Well, thank you, Theodore. Nice to see you every week. I appreciate it. So how's that for an oddball guitar? I get a lot of comments of, oh, you're always playing your Les Paul and your Strat. So, okay. Now I want to play Beatles songs. What early Beatles tunes do you want to hear? I wish I could sing as high as those guys. Help. When I was younger, so much younger. You hear it go sharp when I hit it too hard. That's not right. Hang on. That's a tough lick. Ticket to Ride. That'll probably sound better with the compressor on. Ah, that's right. Today, yeah. That's the Bigsby doing that. Yeah. No, Bill, that was just the Bigsby on the end of it. The modulation is the El Capistan. Yeah, for Beatles stuff, if you're going to play it, you just got to play the right instruments. That's the only way to get that sound. Oh, I know the one that's really fun to play, and I can barely even do it. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. You can't play and sing that strum. That's why Paul had to sing it. Those guys could play, man. They're like 22 years old. Can't see the fretboard. Oh, do you want to see the chords? So it's F sharp minor, to B major, to E major, to C sharp minor, A major to F sharp minor, to D, to B. So what he's doing is doing a minor third down going up through fourths. If you're for you music theory guys. So he starts out on, the song's in E basically, so, but he's, in A. So he starts out on the 6th. So here we are on the E, you go to the minor 6. Then you go up a 4th to the A. Then go down a minor 3rd to the 6th. Then go to the D major, up a 4th from the A, and then back down to 6th. And start it all over. Your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember I'll always be true. Thirds, just thirds. Going down a minor third from every major chord. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll sing all the way down a minor third. My lovin', the diminished chord. Is that right? There you go. Rickenbacker's fun. You guys get me off on a Beatle band, I'll go crazy. You need a pearl light, bro. I don't know what that is. What's a pearl light? Have I ever stood in with Peter when he is performing with Sheryl Crow? No. Cheryl wouldn't let me do that. Oh, a Texas beer. Yeah. Sorry, of course. Pearl beer. I thought you were talking about some kind of musical equipment. I'm like, what? Like pearl drums? What do I need pearl drums for? Well, it's about 1:15 here on the West Coast. 4 or 5 would work. Let's see, what else can you do on this, which is kind of fun. Oh, that compressor's way too much. Mess that one up. So it's about 1:15. London Pro and Loop Signal. This is the producer. It's not the London Pro. This has 3 pickups and gets kind of weird sounding. One of these is a balance. Always get these controlled. Yeah, that's right. So again, I'm just running the Strymon pedals right now. I have the Strymon Capistan, the Strymon Blue Sky, and the Strymon compressor's off, but I can kick it back on. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can't hide. Dan, if you could only have one of Strymon's, which would it be? I would go for the El Capistan, because I am a tape echo nerd. And man, to me, that's a big part of what you're hearing right now, is the tape echo sound. It's great. What's the other one that would work on this guitar? What's the note? She loves you. Yeah, that's not right. That's a. That's it. Yeah, yeah. How'd those guys sing that high? Those guys were writing those songs when they were 21 years old. I mean, you listen to that song, you think it's a joke. They did that song in 1962, I think, originally. Free Strymons with a producer. Well, let me talk to the guys at Strymon. We'll see what we can do. I think that's a great idea. She loves I never get tired of those guys. What is it about the Beatles? But listen to that chord progression. Is there anything on the radio today that is that complex and yet that sweet? I mean, with the minor 4, there's that dissonance right there. You have to get it or it's not the song. That right there? That is She Loves You. You have to get that. Then it ends on a 6 chord. It's a minor 4. That's music, man. That's fun. Little stinkers wrote that song when they were children. I don't know how much George Martin had to do with that, but gosh darn it, thank you, Nick. Gosh darn it, he did really well. So anyway, there you have it. That is the producer. And I'm going to do some more next week because we haven't even really tapped into it that much. I'm just kind of letting you guys get a taste of how effective this amp is for a working musician or somebody that doesn't want to buy 5 boutique amps or 5 vintage amps. So it's a little bit of money. It's a little more expensive, but you're getting a whole lot of amp for it. And I think it's actually a bargain if you ask me. I get this call once a week from guys go, well, I bought this amp for $2,000 and I bought that amp for $1,400 and I bought this other amp for $2,200 and na. Why am I going to spend more money on yours? I'm like, hey man, you already spent $10,000 and you're unhappy. So, you know, these things are lifetime warranted. You guys know they're made well. You know they're made correctly. So it's actually sort of, in my opinion, a bit of a bargain. Anyway, so I'm getting hungry. Do you guys have any questions before we call it a day? I know I've been playing and talking a lot, so I'll try to edit this down into something usable to watch. I'll have this up. Well, you know, there's a difference between cheap and inexpensive, Mac. You know, I know so many guys that buy every boutique amp they can afford under $2,000 or something, and they end up buying 3 of them a year, and they're spending a fortune on amps they don't like. So it might be smarter just to get one that works, has a lifetime warranty, and the way the producer's running these tubes are going to last longer than you do, I think. And so you don't have to spend $150 to $200 a year retubing your EL34 amp. Or if you're a gigging musician, retubing your amp every 3 or 4 months, which is a lot of money. And you're spending more and more money on tubes that are worse and worse. So as an economics guy from college, I don't think that's a smart move. If I were selling you a crappier car every year for more money, would you keep buying it? Oh, I have to drive this car, even though they cost twice as much and they last for half as long. I have to drive this car. Doesn't make any sense. So it occurred to us that at some point we're going to have to design amps around the tubes that exist. Right now, Mac, I'm using the TAD, Ruby EL34s. They all sound good. I can run any of them. All repeated dumb question. 65 is the same volume-wise as a 212 Selection Vintage 30s wired for 8 ohms. Now, ours will be a little bit louder. The ohmage has no bearing on the volume of the cabinet at all. You're talking about a minuscule difference. But we use G12H30s and Celestion Alnico Blues, which are higher SPL speakers than a Vintage 30. A Vintage 30 is kind of a dull speaker. But the impedance of the cabinet has no bearing on the volume whatsoever. That's like saying I have 4 feathers in my hand or 8 feathers or 16 feathers. Oh, the 16 feathers is way too heavy. No, it doesn't make any. You're talking about ohms, not mega ohms or kilo ohms. You're talking about ohms. It's nothing. I mean, you know, a piece of hair has 8 ohms to it. You know, if you literally put a meter on either side of a strand of hair, it'll have 8 ohms or 16 or 4. There's no difference there. But it's not a dumb question at all. It's a good question. Give me the chicken and leave the feathers. Yeah, no, that's not a dumb question, Slow-Mo. That's good. Just we use higher SPL speakers. They're a little better than the vintage 30s. They're a little more articulate, a little more. They're not really any more. Well, the Alnico is, but the G12H30 is not any more expensive than a vintage 30. But it's a lot more smart. Are the tubes getting the same big current as the power tubes? A little bit more, not necessarily. Preamp tubes don't draw a lot of current. It's the power amp tubes where everybody runs them high voltage, low current, which is how amps have always, worked. But tubes don't like voltage. Tubes love current and hate voltage. So if you just drop the voltage on a tube, it doesn't sound good. You have to do a lot more than that. And we had to have transformers made to pull it off because it doesn't work with off-the-shelf transformers. That's part of the reason the cost on the amp is we have very proprietary, unique transformers in it. But we found the sweet spot, and as you can tell from listening to this, it works great. Like, have you ever heard a clean sound like that from EL34s? I haven't. So, it's a breakthrough, I think. Not to mention the fact they're just going to last forever. We've got almost like 180, 190 hours on this amp right now, and the power tubes have gone down less than 2%. 2%. You take any brand new EL34 amp and play it for a weekend, the tubes are going to go down more than that, let alone almost 200 hours. I mean, they'll last, in theory, what is that? 30,000 hours or something? It's crazy. Well, you're nice, big buddy. I'm just an average guitar player. I have a lot of experience, but I'm not an ace by any means. When I have Peter in here, you'll see a real guitar player. Or Lyle Workman or Mark Goldenberg and guys like that. Do the transformers in all of your amps come into play with a master volume? Then we don't use a master volume, Blaine. I have a master voltage, which is very different. Master voltage, no, I'm using a different circuit to regulate the power. But I regulate it intelligently so that the relationship inside the tube stays the same. So instead of just starving the tube arbitrarily, I drop it so the screen and the control grid and the cathode stay in the same relationship with the anode, the plate of the tube. So it still works the same. Yeah, no problem, Blaine. I hear that a lot. I didn't really do that today, but next week we'll get into that some more. I just wanted to play with effects. Again, we were going through my loop. It's a passive loop, but it's a nice loop. And no worries, Blaine. That's fine. So anyway, you get the idea. So any more questions? We're at an hour and a half already. It's amazing. I really appreciate you guys that have stuck with me through this. And I'm going to have the recording up here in a few minutes. And then I'll try to edit it down into something usable. But my other computers is unhappy now. So anyway, anything else, guys? You're very welcome, Doc Electric. Yes, I was mixing you up with something. Somebody else, that's right. Knockout amp for 65 amps. Thank you, Mac. Well, we're trying to get better every year. And you can order them now. You can put a deposit on one at a dealer, and you should have it by Christmas. Gute Nacht. Bis nächste Woche. Vielen Dank, Goofy 65. Bis bald, hoffe ich. Well, thank you, guys. I'm just getting started on the producer, so come back next week. We'll play some different guitars, maybe try some different effects or whatever you like. Thank you, Slow-Mo. I appreciate the good questions. You guys are asking very nice, important questions. It's very good. I appreciate it. Okay, I got to run too, Neil. I'm starving. But Stank Cheese 5000. Now that is a name right there. Stank Cheese 5000. I like that. That's a good handle. Well, anyway, thank you once again, guys. It's October 19th, 2011. My name's Dan Boul. And carnitas for lunch. Stop it, Neil. Jeez. Now I'm salivating. Neil said he's having carnitas in San Antonio, Texas. Those are good. Very nice. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to head out, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again. I appreciate it sincerely. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.